Welcome aboard and thank you for joining me today. Mochi Man here with the start of my new 3-part series on who I believe will be the final 3 members of the Straw Hat crew, starting with the person I think will be the 10th member, Yamato. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm just going to quickly address the elephant in the room. Why did I say last 3 members? There's only 1 slot available. Luffy said he wanted 10 members at the start of the series, so there has to be 10. I haven't forgotten about this, but throughout One Piece there has been a pattern forming when it has come to the number of crewmates joining at each section of the story. In East Blue we had 4 members join, that being Zoro, Nami, Usopp and Sanji. In the Grand Line we had another 4 members, those being Chopper, Robin, Frankie and Brook. And now currently in the New World, so far we've only had 1 new crew member, that being Jinbei. So if the pattern from before was to continue, that would mean there will be 3 crew members still to join. To fully explain why these 3 characters are great fits for the crew, I will show you the criteria I'm judging them on. First, I will look at the character's introduction into the story, explain their personality, character design, and the popularity that character has with the fanbase. Then I will judge their strength, as the Pirate King's crew cannot have any weak links. Will the new character fit in with the monsters of the crew, who are the strongest fighters which boast monstrous strength, speed and durability? Will they fit in with the cowards of the crew, which consist of more human members as well as the younger members, who are a bit more afraid to enter battles as they are aware of their own weaknesses? Those in this group tend to be more tactical fighters to make up for their shortcomings. Or will they fall somewhere in the middle with the mid-group, who are competent fighters, unafraid to fight but not nearly as strong as the crew's monsters? Within this series, 1 member will be joining each of these groups to make 4 in each group. So I'm sorry Momo and Otama, it's not your time just yet, but please come back in 10 years and we'll think about it. Then I'll go into how the character will gel with the other Straw Hat crew members to give a little bit of insight on how they would fit in with the others. So, if you are a terrible person, the Straw Hats won't welcome you in with open arms. The crew position is what the character's job will be on the crew, and why they will be important for the Straw Hats to have around going forwards. Having a tragic backstory is a staple for new crew members, to show the hardships they had to overcome before meeting the crew. The backstory usually includes a mentor-like character that gives up their life or limb to protect that potential crew member, which can lead to that character inheriting the will of their mentor, helping them to become the person they are today. Dreams are a massive part of the story of One Piece, and all of the current Straw Hats have dreams which they want to accomplish while being a part of the crew. So I will discuss what I believe the dream of the character to be, and why it is important for them to join the Straw Hat crew to achieve it. Then finally, I will give my quick hypothetical scenario of how I believe they will join the crew. With that out of the way, let's just jump in to the character intro. Yamato was first mentioned by name in chapter 979 by Kaido as his idiot son, who he once found. Kaido's son was an interesting plot element coming into this battle, as it was an unknown factor. An individual that could be the ace up Kaido's sleeve, or be an unexpected ally, as the two don't seem to have the best of relationships. Then later, during Luffy's clash with Ulti, a masked person takes out Ulti using the Thunder Bagua technique, the same technique Kaido used to take out Luffy. Then the masked man reveals himself to Luffy as Yamato, and he is Kaido's son. When Luffy and Yamato are alone to talk, Yamato takes off his mask and reveals that he is actually a she and is Kaido's daughter, but refers to herself as Kaido's son because she wants to be Kazuki Oden. And Oden was a man, so Yamato refers to herself as a man. However, within this video, I will be referring to Yamato through female pronouns such as she and her, and I'll quickly explain why. I believe Yamato wants to be Oden rather than being a man. Being Oden for Yamato means being free and to a more literal extent, being the father of Momonosuke. Being Odin also means being strong and not abandoning a friend in danger. I believe Yamato's current design is intentionally left feminine, as I believe there will be a point where she realizes that she can't physically be Kazuki Odin, but she can still inherit his will and live by his example. Yamato will be a female Kazuki Odin. I think Yamato's character design is great. I really like her white and blue hair, which sets her apart from other characters. Red horns, which you could link her to Black Maria. The white sleeveless kimono and red hakama pants are the colours of the Japanese flag, which fits well with the Wano arc as it is very Japanese influenced. And her sandals and her large white and purple Neo Daisuke rope are definitely inspired by Odin. An interesting part of Yamato's introduction was the fact that she knew Ace, which links to the start of the arc when Otama explained that Ace was on Wano. Ace had promised both of them that he would come back and take them out to sea with him, however he was unable to keep his promise. This prompts Yamato to ask Luffy to join his crew very early on into meeting him, so that Luffy can fulfill Ace's promise. This sparked much excitement in the fanbase that we could get a new female member on the Straw Hat crew, to the extent that after a very short amount of time in the story, after officially being shown in chapter 984, Yamato was ranked 11th in the latest One Piece global popularity poll, which is incredible for such a new character in the story. A large part of Yamato's popularity comes from her strength, and if she was to join the Straw Hat crew, she would be up there with the crew's monsters, which includes Zoro, Sanji, and Jinbei. The character Yamato is most like combat-wise is Zoro, which is amazing to think that we could gain a female member who is similar in strength to Zoro. Zoro and Yamato are both weapon users who use short-range techniques, and they also both use long-range techniques with their weapon of choice. Similar to Luffy, Yamato has displayed great durability tanking cannon fire without much issue. And they both have techniques which allow them to send the projectiles back at the shooter. The enemies Yamato has defeated so far were powerful enemies, and she beat them both with one hit. Ulti was one of the Tobiropo, one of the strongest crew members of the Beast Pirates, and Hatcher is one of the Numbers, one of Kaido's artificial ancient giants. Ulti even tried to attack Yamato again, but Yamato had no issue defending herself while having a conversation with Luffy. Yamato's biggest combat feat so far is the fact that she was able to fight evenly against Ace, who would be a top commander in Whitebeard's crew, with Ace even stating that it was strange that someone as powerful as Yamato wasn't a captain. The fact that she was able to fight evenly with Ace and damage him also shows that Yamato at least has armament haki. The crazy thing is, I don't think that she has even used her full power yet. During the clash against Sasaki, Sasaki was about to get involved in the fight himself, and that's when we see Yamato's teeth turn into fangs, and she growls. I have a strong belief that she is a zone through user and she was about to transform to get serious against Sasaki, and I have a good idea of what devil fruit she may have. That being the mythical cat fruit model Byakko, the white tiger. The reason I believe Yamato has this devil fruit is because of the devil fruit Kaido uses, that being the mythical fish fruit model Seiryu, the Azure Dragon. Seiryu was the noblest of the Su-Ling creatures of Chinese mythology. It represents the east and the season of spring. Byakko was also of the Su-Ling creatures. It represents the west and the season of autumn. Oda actually illustrated a battle between tiger and dragon using a more traditional Japanese art style in line with the Wano aesthetic. So early on, I believe Oda wanted to replicate the battle of tiger and dragon in the story of One Piece. And if you look closely at the background behind the image, the black, green and orange, it looks the same as the curtains which opened up the Wano arc. That makes me think that Yamato could be the tiger to combat Kaido the dragon. So what will this transformation do for Yamato? The zone type transformation boosts the strength and physicality of the user, with Lucci stating that the zone is the strongest type of fruit for close combat. Awakened or more experienced zone users gain additional durability as well as an incredible recovery time, meaning it will take a lot to put them down for good. Yamato's cat model Devil Fruit would give her all of the additional bonuses of being a big cat. Claws that can pierce and shred, fangs that can maul, and a tail which could be used as an extra limb. Additionally, if she is a mythical zone, she will also gain additional abilities on top of her zone transformation. For example, as well as being able to transform into a phoenix, Marco also has healing abilities which he can use on himself and others. The additional ability I see Yamato having in her Byakko form is the power to create snow. Byakko represents the season of autumn, when the weather is starting to get colder and snow is on its way. That contrasts Kaido well, as Seiryu represents the spring and the warmer months, and Kaido's go-to element is fire. The way I see Yamato utilizing the snow ability is with camouflage. Just like how snowy animals will use the snow to hide themselves to confuse predators that are after them, Yamato will use the snow to blend in and, when the time is right, pounce on her opponent with powerful attacks the opponent won't see coming. This tactic will not be enough to beat Kaido, but it would help to stall for enough time for Luffy to rejoin the battle. Yamato's dynamic with Luffy is pretty straightforward. Luffy loves adventure and exploring. Odin was exactly the same when he was a pirate, and we see a bit of this when Yamato meets Frankie for the first time, showing genuine curiosity upon seeing a different being for the first time. So I can see Yamato being as excited as Luffy when they find a new island, and will be right along with Luffy when it comes to exploring the island. I think Yamato would also have a great relationship with Zoro, and I can see the two of them sparring together on the ship to improve their skills. Yamato would like to spar with Zoro and learn from him, as his fighting style is closest to Odin's on the crew, and he would be one of the few members who could keep up with her. Whilst Zoro would be interested in sparring with Yamato because she uses techniques Kaido had used, and I think Zoro would be interested in incorporating some of these techniques into his own fighting style. Yamato could have a good relationship with Jinbei as well, because they share the fact that they have both fought Ace in the past and have both become friends with him afterwards. Yamato will also add to the dynamic with the other women on the crew, as she is much more tomboyish than Nami and Robin, leading to a fun relationship between the three of them. The most important relationship on the crew to Yamato will be Nico Robin, and this leads into her position on the crew that she will hold, that being the Strawhat Pirates stonemason. The reason I believe Yamato will be the stonemason of the Straw Hat crew is simple. It was the position held by Odin when he was recruited into the Roger Pirates to allow them to read the poneglyphs to reach Laugh Tale. The Kozuki clan's stonemasons were unparalleled across the world, as they were the clan responsible for creating the poneglyphs and recorded the true history on the indestructible stones to make sure the information wasn't lost. Stonemasonry was passed down from father to son for the last 800 years, but it unfortunately ended in Odin's generation, as Odin was tragically killed before teaching his son Momonosuke. Yamato wants to be Odin, and a part of who Odin was a Kozuki stonemason. So seeing as Robin is the only living person who can read the ancient language of the poneglyphs, I believe Yamato would ask Robin to teach her the ancient language so that she could continue the Kazuki family tradition of the stonemasons. Frankie could also help Yamato towards this goal, as he could teach her the correct way of using tools. The importance of Yamato's stonemasonry on the Straw Hat crew will be that she will be able to write a message for Luffy about their adventure, which will never be lost to time, similar to what Oden did for Roger. So even if the Straw Hats are long gone, their tale will never be forgotten, and potentially a new generation could find this message. Another important reason I see Yamato becoming a stonemason is to one day teach Momonosuke how to be a stonemason, as Oden would have wanted, so that the Kazuki family tradition can continue long into the future. Now, we haven't had a full backstory yet for Yamato and Kaido, so there are still some details currently unknown, like Yamato's mother and why she has horns, but there has been quite a bit of dialogue around her past, which I can piece together. In a previous video, I theorized that Jack and Yamato would have a joint backstory during their fight, as they both grew up as apprentices in the Beast Pirate crew. Two kids growing up in the same environment but turning out completely different. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend giving it a watch after this video, but this is what we know of Yamato's past so far. At age 8, Yamato witnessed the execution of Oden, and her opinion of Oden changed after hearing Shinobu's words and seeing Oden's sacrifice. Oden's death upset her, but also inspired her to be like him. After the execution, Yamato ran to Kuri to try and help Momonosuke, but by the time she got there, Kaido was already dangling Momonosuke from Kuri Castle, about to kill him. Yamato would then find Oden's journal at the foot of Oden Castle on that day. Oden's journal became her Bible, and she protected its existence from her father, whilst learning all about Oden's life and journey, choosing to carry on Oden's will as she believed the 9 red scabbards had died. Yamato would go on to tell Kaido she wants to be Kazuki Oden, and took a beating for it. Then after this event, Kaido placed exploding handcuffs on her to scare her into not leaving, to make her a member of his crew. So Yamato was made to spend 20 years of her life working for the man who killed her hero. Kaido would go on to teach Yamato his fighting style in an attempt to make her his successor or right hand. Yamato would go on to use these skills she learnt to challenge Kaido to fights, but every time she tried, she was defeated, and I believe that the isolation and the environment she grew up in broke her spirit and she started falling into line. That is until Ace came to attempt to take Kaido's head. However, Yamato informs Ace that her father and his men are off the island, letting Ace know that Kaido is Yamato's father. Yamato states that she doesn't have any obligation to protect this island, but she wants Ace to leave to avoid more destruction. Ace's crew let him know that they have achieved their goal of saving the abducted children, but at that moment Ace notices the exploding handcuffs on the Yamato and realises she isn't here by choice. Rather than leaving with his crew, Ace chooses to stay and fight Yamato to understand why someone as strong as her hasn't left to be a captain herself. Ace finally gets through to Yamato, telling her not to let Kaido chain her heart. Ace realised that Yamato had given up on fighting back against Kaido and started working for him due to her lack of freedom. Just because Yamato can't physically leave, it doesn't mean she can let Kaido choose who she is. This is interesting coming from Ace, as he grew up hating his father as well, and chose to become a pirate to surpass him. After hearing Ace's words, Yamato breaks the dragon statue symbolising Kaido, and tells Ace what she really wants out of life, to be able to go out to sea and live life as free as Oden. Ace is happy by this, and covers for Yamato by melting the statue with his signature Fire Fist, to take the blame off Yamato and put it on himself. After the battle, Ace and Yamato become good friends, and she would have left with him if it wasn't for the exploding handcuffs. Yamato would ask about the current pirates making a name for themselves, and Ace reveals the names of Cavendish, Kid, Law, and Beige. That explains the pirate that will be the best will be his little brother. During the conversation about Luffy, Ace lets Luffy's dream slip, and was worried that Yamato would laugh at his brother's dream. Ace strongly believes in Luffy, and Yamato, with tears in her eyes, tells Ace she won't laugh at him, remembering that those were the same words that Roger spoke. Yamato would go on to make Ace a Viva card so they could one day meet again. However, they would never meet again, as Ace's Viva card disappeared and she learnt his fate from the newspaper. She also learnt that Ace was Roger's son, and that Ace's little brother Luffy did make a name for himself, and Yamato would go on to say what Oden's prophecy for the future was, that over 20 years in the future, powerful pirates leading the next generation will be swarming into the new world, and if I am dead before then, they will be the ones to strike down Kaido. Yamato sees the fact that Luffy was the one to help Momonosuke as an act of fate, as he was unknowingly carrying on Ace's will to help the people of Wano. I like the fact that Ace was the one to break the chains on Yamato's heart, to allow her to admit what she wants out of life, and Luffy is the one to break her physical chains, allowing Yamato to be truly free. Then we have the clash of the past, which mirrors the clash of the present. Whitebeard, the man many claim to be the world's strongest man, and the former captain of Oden, clashed with Roger, the future Pirate King, and the future Captain of Oden after the fight, both using Conqueror's Haki to the level where they're not even touching. Now in the present we have Kaido, the man many claim to be the world's strongest creature, and the current captain of Yamato, clashing with Luffy, the future king of the pirates, and the future captain of Yamato after this fight. In a very similar way to Whitebeard and Roger using Conqueror's Haki at the level where they're not even touching. As far as backstories go, I have noticed some similarities between Nami and Yamato. Both of them saw their role model killed in front of them, with a gun, by the main villain of the arc. They are both forced to join the villain's crew after this loss, and they are both unable to leave due to fear. Nami was afraid of the villagers being killed, and Yamato was afraid she would be killed by her exploding handcuffs. The defeat of the villains will go alongside the destruction of the villains' headquarters to symbolically show they do not have any power over the people anymore. And upon the defeat of the villain, the oppressed crew member is finally free to join the crew. Yamato, from her introduction, wants to be Kazuki Oden. I believe her statement to Ace that she wants to sail out to sea and go on adventures and live as free as Oden is her dream. From joining the Straw Hat crew, she will be around the people who allow her to make that dream a reality, to become a stonemason like Oden, to one day write a message for Luffy to a future generation going on their journey, and personally experience the adventure she had read about, and finally laugh as hard as Oden did upon seeing One Piece herself. I believe Yamato will join the crew during the party after defeating Kaido. The Straw Hats will be toasting their new crewmate Jinbei. When Luffy spots Yamato and invites her to join them, they share sake and have a great time. At this point, Luffy knows Yamato a lot better due to working together to take down Kaido. So Luffy will be the one to ask Yamato if she still wants a ride on his ship, repeating the same thing Yamato asked him when they first met. Yamato will smile and say, "Well, you can't be Pirate King without Kazuki Oden." And so, there will be a joint toast at the end of Wano for the 9th and 10th members of the Straw Hat crew. And that's my take on why I believe Yamato will be the 10th member of the Straw Hat crew. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please like, comment and subscribe, as it would help out a great deal. Stay tuned for parts 2 and 3 focused on the last 2 members. The final crew member will blow your mind, and I'm looking forward to discussing it. Stay hyped, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.